you get the call that you have cancer, and I just went numb. And then my husband and I went into fight mode.
So first they thought I had a cyst, and so that was the prognosis, was they were just going to go in and take out one ovary and my fallopian tube. And then my OB was kind of didn't feel that, felt like something else was wrong. So she did more tests and said, oh, there's cancer, so I'm referring you to an oncologist.
From there, the mammogram day went straight into biopsies, and I found out the next day at work that I had cancer.
Did a self-breast exam, and sure enough, I found a huge lump. Went to the doctors, had a mammogram, an ultrasound, and that's when I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
She didn't say anything. She just said that I think we have to do a biopsy today. And I said, yeah, sure, ma'am. So I came back the afternoon, was my appointment, and she did the biopsy. So after 2 days, she called me back, and she told me those lumps that I felt is cancer tumors.
Tomorrow it could be a mom or a sister or an aunt or a loved one that is given the diagnosis. There's not warning signs many times. It doesn't matter genetic markers anymore. It's not a family disease, is what I always get. It's you're 27 and doing a breast exam and you find a lump.
As I was going through a difficult time and really didn't have anybody, it was just a welcome gift. And it let me know that there were people out there that had been through this journey but really cared. And they might be strangers, but they all knew what I was going through with that diagnosis.
At first, I was embarrassed to tell Rebecca that we needed help. And when she told me that you guys were there for me, it was just a very overwhelming feeling and a really good feeling to know that there's strangers out there that are willing to help women, you know, not only go through cancer. I mean, I can handle like the treatments, but the financial part is very hard on, you know, the whole family, that I have to watch my husband stress about how we're going to do this and that.
If I can say, you know what, we can help you, and I can send you home today with a gift card to Safeway or Fred Meyer to help out with some groceries, free up some money for some of those bills, or we can take care of one of those utility bills for you today. So let's take care of that today. And the relief on someone's face to realize that's one thing they don't have to worry about right now. And they can go back to thinking about taking good care of themselves and getting through their treatment.
There are times where we reach the end of our funds, and I'm sitting in a room much like this with a patient who's been newly diagnosed, and they're in shock, they're in overwhelm, they can't go to work, and they need to feed their kid. And, you know, it's heartbreaking as a social worker not to have anything to offer them. And this is real, what's offered to them through this grant.
So the grants are great because I'm able to give them immediately, right the moment I kind of recognize there's a need in talking with a patient, I can be thinking, okay, she can actually leave today with this grant. And that's not true for a lot of the financial assistance that's available. There's a long, complicated application process. And so it's lovely to be able to help somebody in the moment.
I just had to fill out a little piece of paperwork, and I thought it was something that I would have to wait to get, but she told me, no, you get it right now before you leave treatment. And it was so comforting to know that Northwest Hope and Healing was there. People just think that cancer, that people just worry about the treatments and about their health, but they don't think about the other things that come with it, like financial stability, you know, healthcare costs, parking, and all that stuff.
Without that, you know, I would really struggle even more, like especially for gas and parking. Sometimes my parking is not reimbursed or anything. Use it the best possible way, you know, in the most precious things like, you know, transportation, you know, all these expenses that sometimes no one can really cover.
On the spot grant right then and there was amazing. I thought seriously we would have to wait a couple weeks or a month, but she's like, oh no, here it is. You know, even though that's not a lot, but that was a lot to me that day.
Statistically, we have the highest number of breast cancer cases in the United States. So what that tells me is if it hasn't happened to you, a loved one, family member, it eventually will.
Because it is on the rise, especially in Washington, and it's so important, and the research is so important right now, and helping women in the area and knowing that the money's going local makes a huge difference. And that's why Northwest Hope and Healing has a place in my heart.
And to get involved, to open your pocketbook, you're giving amazing help, and it's remaining local, which I think is very good.
And with all my heart, with my whole spirit, thank you so much for, you know, all that people that, you know, from like cents to whatever amount, because it makes a huge difference